Here in Washington, they came to unite the right, but were vastly outnumbered by demonstrators promoting unity. A year after a white supremacist rally and counter-protests turned deadly, another march was held near the White House. CGTN's Roee Ruttenberg is just back from the rally site. Roee, what have you learned?
Wangguan, yeah, back earlier than I expected, and one of the reasons is because that Unite the Right rally that was supposed to be going on now actually started earlier. I don't know if that's because of the small number that they had in attendance, or because the rain basically washed everything out and organizers simply shut things down. The counter-protesters, as you mentioned, though, far outnumbered the Unite the Right marchers, who were escorted over to Lafayette Park in front of the White House, escorted by police. The counter-protesters showed up, thousands of them by my estimates, often showing up in different groups of dozens or hundreds, marching under different banners. As we saw there were some scuffles between different people, police quickly trying to contain those, but nothing major, no significant violence, the type especially that we saw last year in Charlottesville. Now, the people who showed up at this event to protest against the white supremacists that were marching said many of them did so because of what happened specifically last year. Let's have a listen.
So I was actually in Charlottesville last year on the front lines, right outside of Lee Park, and I've been doing anti-fascist work and mass mobilization work for over a year, and I'm a Jew, and I'm just not going to stand for Nazis anywhere near me, so here I am.
So there were lots of different groups, some protesting against racism and hate, others protesting against fascism and against what they say are racist immigration policies coming out of the White House. On the other side, between the protesters and the White House, was that small group of the Unite the Right. The organizer was unable to get a permit again this year to organize in Charlottesville, so organized instead in Washington, D.C. under heavy security. He said when he was speaking to some of the press that this isn't about racism, this isn't about fascism, this is about protecting civil liberties.
So let me ask you something. Is this racism epidemic a real thing, or are people making it up to manipulate the American public? Who is the intolerant one? Is it us who are here expressing our First Amendment rights, or are these folks who showed up by the thousands to stop us from being able to speak, and they're completely indoctrinated?
Kessler there streaming his speech out perhaps to some of his followers. He also said that this protest was against what he called anti-white racism, often noting things like affirmative action, which his supporters say often hurts white Americans. Wangguan?
Roee, President Trump is out of town, as we understand. Has he made any comments?
So the protest there in front of the White House, but Donald Trump is on vacation in New Jersey. He did tweet on Saturday saying that he condemned all racism, but many saw that again as a nod to the white supremacists who, as I mentioned, said they're combating anti-white racism. And of course, last year Donald Trump drew a lot of anger for his comments where he said that both sides were to blame, but that there were fine people on both sides. A lot of people criticized him for appearing to draw moral equivalency between racists and those who are turning out to protest against them. Donald Trump's defenders say that he has criticized the racism, that he's condemned the violence on several occasions, perhaps not in the words or the way that most people would like them, but they are coming to his defense. But he is, again, not here in Washington. We may hear from him on Monday when he does make a public appearance. Wangguan?
Roee Ruttenberg reporting from Washington. Thank you.